So hello everyone and welcome to a new YouTube video. Yes, I know that I've been very quiet on this platform. Those of you who are working with me know why. Just absolutely thrashed on projects, training, house move, and I actually took a little bit of holiday as well, which was something I've not done for years, but Claire made me take some time off, and I really enjoyed a couple of weeks just doing my own thing, not thinking IPS, not thinking S1000D, doing some stuff that Ingledew wanted to go and do. So enjoyed that. Thank you to everybody who continues to ask where I am. I know I've not done anything on YouTube for, I think it's nearly 3 months, and that gives you an indication of how kind of busy I am at the moment, and in a good way, and I really enjoy being busy. And but we also moved home as well, so I had to put, you know, a week or so's energy into that. So you can tell that we're in a new environment. We've got a new office here, and we are slowly settling in. So lots of things going on here at TDW, as I've mentioned, working on lots of projects, which is great, working on some new content ideas for our members, for our TDW Plus members, and we have just announced the kind of pseudo agenda for TDW Live this year, and really looking forward to delivering that this year. We've got some already got some new people that are coming along to that. So I think that the whole IPS theme, the whole IPS stuff is becoming a really kind of a hot topic. And of course, anybody who's been to TDW Live knows that we look at it from a practical perspective. We don't look at it from the what does the specifications say. We actually look at what does it mean in real life if we're going to do something. So what we're going to do today is I just want to talk about something that we've developed here at TDW, and it's the IPS Toolkit. And the IPS Toolkit is an idea that I had a long time ago, well before you know, TDW, I think, is that because I've always been a fan of mind mapping tools, and I use something called Mind Manager. There are lots of other tools out there, but I use Mind Manager, and I've got a good relationship with the guys at Mind Manager and Aludo, as they're now called. And you know, I took my idea to them saying, look, this is the problem that my customers are having. How can we use Mind Manager to you know, help them adopt complex specifications? How can we help them work with you know, defining project scopes, defining project settings, etc., in a visual way, not just working with Excel spreadsheets? Because Excel spreadsheets, I know everyone loves their Excel spreadsheets, but they can be error prone. And some people out there are really good at making Excel spreadsheets. Don't you know, let's not diss the Excel spreadsheet lovers. But I wanted a tool that I know that I have seen problems with projects trying to implement and adopt things like S1000D, and how do they define the scope, how do they get the settings, etc. So we developed a whole toolkit around these kind of things, and to make it visual, to make it easy to adopt or easier to adopt, to help speed up. Why do we want to speed up? One of the most common questions I'm asked at the end of my S1000D training is, how do we just do it? How do we just get going? All of this theory is nice. All of this stuff that this 3,500 pages is trying to tell us to do. How do we just get going? Just tell us what we need to get going. And the IPS Toolkit goes some way into doing that. So we have released issue 2.3. and it's available now on the TDW Plus portal, or the techdataworld.online portal to our members. You can go and download it. You can go and start looking at the new features. But we're going to look at issue 2.3. And in this particular video, I'm going to just look at what's new in 2.3. And why we're going to do that is because I can kill two birds with one stone here. One, I can satisfy the thirst for people who want something on YouTube, but also the TDW Plus members can also see what's in here. And some of you will recognize some of the features that you have recommended to us or suggested to us. So certainly on the S1000D side of things. So what is new? Well, kind of at a high level, if you like, this is and in the top right hand corner there, you can see we have the toolbar that we install inside Mind Manager. So we have a whole application that sits on top of Mind Manager. We work with a very talented software developer that helps us implement this. And those of you who are already users of the toolkit will see that there's a significant difference in the menu items that you have today to what is available in the tool, available for download today. So what you can see, and I think I've shared already with many of you the strategy for this toolkit and where it's going and how we want to support projects that want to use some, all, or elements of the S series. And so we've introduced a new 10,000i button, or SX000i. 10,000i is starting to sit with me a little bit better. I used to use SX000i. We've improved one of the DMRL features. We'll look at that. We've introduced a new S1000D utilities button. That's because when I'm talking to you guys, you tell me what you would like in terms of features. And I look at how I can genericize those features, and then I work with Nick, and we then implement them in the IPS Toolkit. So then the wider community can use those. It works exceptionally well. We are now starting to introduce some 2000M features, and we'll show you that. One of the things that I wanted to do was actually use some of the features that are available to us in Mind Manager to actually do the self-help kind of stuff. So we've put a new there's a link to the online help anyway from the portal, but we now have a local copy for those of you who can't get access to the internet. There's a local copy of an interactive map which then has tells you what a feature is for and what it's meant to do, etc., which works really, really well. Those of you who, and Steve, this one's for you, those who requested keyboard shortcuts, we've now put keyboard shortcuts into the tool, and we've introduced something that's really cool that I really like, and I'm going to talk about why we've got that feature, because this one's pretty exciting. And I've called it Turn to Learn. Originally we called it Flip to Learn, and then I thought that won't work particularly well with our US counterparts. So I changed it to Turn to Learn, and I'll talk about what that does very shortly. And then for those that have administrator access, which is not many, it's normally IT departments that we give that to. We now have some new utilities that we've included because with Mind Manager's capability, we can create something like a DMRL, we can create something like working with our BRDPs, and we can then export it to what we want it to be exported to, Word, Excel, whatever it is. And we can use images. Now, we found shall we say, a shortcoming in Mind Manager where working with images, it wasn't particularly great. So we've included a utility now that we can force image sizes that when we export the Word or the Excel, etc., the images come out as we want the images to come out, which is important. And so it means that the Word file or the exports are a little bit tidier, a little bit tastier. So let's look at some of these features. And again, I'm just going to give you some kind of slides here, but the TDW Plus members, you will get some full tutorials over the coming weeks. So we've now introduced a new 10,000i button. And so the 10,000i button is where we're going to be putting in lots of checklists. We're going to be putting in lots of tips. We're going to be putting in lots of turn to learn kind of maps. And I'll tell you what that is very shortly. But what we've done now is we've included a URD, ORD checklist, and or two different template checklists. And so for projects that need to work through this, you can work through it. You can share it online with project stakeholders. They can add their comments, etc. And you can then export this to Word. You can export it to wherever you want it to go and share it with projects. So the idea is that right now the two templates are there. It's basically mirroring what's inside 10,000i. We've put them on there. And what's the beauty of this now is that if those checklists change with 10,000i in the future, we can add capability into the map that the user can then filter on the specific issue of a specification that they're working with. So therefore we can have one centralized map that's using almost applicability type statements that we can then filter. So the URD and ORD templates are now available. And so what that means is that we have the ability to create those documents for our project. We know that there's two different ways that you can create a DMRL inside the IPS Toolkit. And in 2.2, we only included the ability to export XML skeletons, data module skeletons, from one location. We've now included it at the second location. So depending on the methodology you're using for DMRL creation, you can now export issue 4.1 XML skeletons. The majority of our clients are at 4.1. So we've got one customer that's working at 2.2, so we may have to include an export for that. But the majority are there. So you can now export those skeletons as well. And the utilities in the bottom right-hand corner there, what we've included now is an S1000D information code lookup. Now, if you look at if you can see the map particularly well there, you can see that we've added attributes to that. Why? I think if you're clever enough, you'll see that we're looking at new features on how we can then have this drive a lot of the other maps that we work with and that we have. So the right now it's just an information code lookup, and you can go in and identify which information codes you're allowed to use on your particular project, and then filter on those and share that map with project stakeholders. But new features coming on how we can or we will be able to work with that going forward. We also have introduced or started to introduce some S2000M features here. And so what we've done is we've just included a map that looks at the standard observation numbers right now, and projects can define their own standard observation numbers and you can export that, share that, and include it in your S2000M business rules. So again, what we're trying to do is just externalize in a pretty way some of the things that we need to be doing with these specifications. I've got plenty of ideas on what we're going to do with S2000M going forward. And those of you who are using the DMRL builder will see that there's already some links there to how we can work with the S2000M, S1000D interactions. So pretty stoked about that feature. And Nick helped me come up with some good ideas on how we can actually present this information. So some of the other features that I've already alluded to, we now have an interactive help map. And the good thing about the interactive help map is that it will, depending on the version of the IPS Toolkit you're using, you can filter. You can filter on the version of the toolkit that you're using. So therefore, you can see what you can then compare and see which new features are available, so that you could see whether it's something that you want to upgrade to or whether it's something that you want to use. So now the turn to learn feature is probably for me, the most exciting, because not only that, it extends how we can use Mind Manager for working with complex maps. Now, if you think about working with things like information codes, SNS structures, and those kind of things, these maps can become exceptionally big. They can become exceptionally convoluted, and there's lots of sub information that needs to be associated to that actual particular part of the map that you might be looking at. So now what we've done, and I'm showing you the S2000M Sun here, we have basically a front map and then we have a reverse map, but based on some filtering attributes that we have included, you can now right click on a part of the map and you can say turn to learn. And what that means is that it then filters down. So like if you wanted to look at a specific category of, in this case, suns in 2000M, you right click on it, turn to learn, and it drills down in another map and shows you what that means. That means it's easier for us to navigate, it's easier for us to use, and we don't confuse ourselves with kind of information overload. So the templates that are available right now for S1000D, SNSs and those kind of things are all going to be updated and upgraded in a future release, probably 2.4, where the turn to learn is going to be implemented. And the turn to learn will then say, right click, I want to see all of the AVEE SNS structures, and it will just show you the AVEE SNS structures. And which means you can remove all of the noise. Now we've got some good ideas on how that is, how that's going to work in the future. I've mentioned already keyboard shortcuts for a couple of people that have asked for them, and we've put in the image scaling for some of the exports. So that just gives you an idea. Look at the state of my hair. What's going on? I'm going to go for a haircut today, I think. So so it gives you an idea of some of the features. If you're interested in what the IPS Toolkit does it at a greater level, do get in touch with us. I'll just I'll put it up here so you can see it. You can get in touch with us via the website, and or you can email Claire@techdataworld.com, who will be happy to send you some information on the IPS Toolkit. So I just wanted to kill two birds with one stone, a bit of YouTube and educating some of our TDW Plus members on what's available now in the new version of the IPS Toolkit. Hope you like the new setup. It's actually really freaking warm here in the UK right now, so I keep turning you off so I can wipe my face so it looks like I'm sweating. So and I've got something on my t-shirt there. There we go. So the IPS Toolkit is now available for download to those that have access to it. If you want access to it, get in touch with us. Be more than happy to talk to you about how you can get into some of the DMRL, SNS, working with S2000M, working with 10,000i. Yes, we've got some 6000T stuff coming as well. And so the toolkit is really starting to take shape. So I will do my best to keep on top of YouTube. I know that lots of you have sent me messages through LinkedIn and emails to Claire asking where I am and that kind of stuff. Just paying the bills is what I'm doing. So hopefully you find that useful and interesting. Do keep your questions coming. I've had some questions on cage codes. I've had some questions on how to adopt S1000D in a much more timely and efficient manner. I've been asked some questions around 1000X. I've been lots and lots of questions coming in, and it just, if I showed you my Evernote is absolutely chock-a-block of ideas, thoughts, tutorials, etc. So thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't, but make sure you, if you're thumbs downing it, make sure you press it twice to make it double sure that you don't like it. Do continue to send in your comments, questions, suggestions, ideas, thoughts, and do subscribe, do follow, And yeah, this is the first one I've done in nearly 3 months, so apologies for that. And if you're coming to TDW Live, do come and say hello, and do come and talk. I know that we've got some great new faces coming along, so looking forward to that. And otherwise, connect with me on LinkedIn, send me your thoughts. Speak soon.